Good morning, yogis. Good morning. So make sure once again that you have 2 blocks, a strap, maybe even a pillow and a blanket handy. And then let's come on to our backs. We'll start in Shavasana. Okay. Allow your breath to deepen and settle. Noticing your breath. Just letting it be smooth and easy. And then release your arms by your sides and become aware of the points of your body that are resting on the earth. So your heels, your pelvis, your upper back, rest your arms, so the backs of your arms and the back of your head. And just become aware of that for a few breaths. So today's practice, probably even this week's sequence, will be focused on our posture and seeing ways that we can become aware when our posture is out of alignment for a variety of reasons, which we'll discuss throughout our practice, and how we can, retrain our body, our minds, and our body to bring our posture and our physical being back into alignment. So we're going to practice tuning in and noticing, where we are and making adjustments along the way. So we'll start with a few really nice warm-ups to warm up our spine before we get into our work. So let's take a Supta Ardha Chandrasana, sort of a reclined lateral stretch. So walk your legs over to the right as far as they're able to go. You can send your arms, in a line of your ears, with your arms extended, or in your cactus pose, or even, by your side, if that's a lot in your shoulders. And then bring your chest over to the right as well, and rest there for a few moments. And if it's easier, you can even take the left foot and bring it across the right ankle. And try not to let that left shoulder roll up towards the sky, draw it back. And just breathe here into this side stretch. And you might notice it right away in, say, your psoas, that muscle in the front of your hip. We talked about it last week. It's a deep core muscle that connects to the top of your femur, your thigh bone, and goes up, behind, behind the abdominal, superficial abdominal muscles, and then connects with the lower rib. So very deep inside, towards the lower spine. So it gets shortened and weakened for, say, if we sit excessively, right? Or, so let's just say that if we're sitting excessively. And so then it could tug on, that the lower spine, and we could find that it also results in a pelvic misalignment, maybe a forward tilt. So let's get that a nice stretch and, strengthen, which we do in our postures like warriors are really great to stretch that out. I mean, we should really do some warrior lunges every day to stretch out the psoas muscle. So take one more breath. And then bring your torso back to neutral. Uncross your legs if they're crossed. Release your arms by your sides. Bend your knees, plant your feet on the earth, And let's just windshield wipe after that. Just windshield wipe the legs side to side. And we'll start to take the spine in a little rotation. And breathe. Your arms can be, again, wherever's comfortable. The focus for this practice will be the lower body, the legs, in relation to our posture. And then as the week progresses, we'll move to the upper body. So then bring that movement to a close. Bring your knees in towards your chest and let them roll over to the right. And then just roll over onto your right side. So your right hand is, or left hand is on top of the right. Now keep your legs here. And as you're able, and I'm even lifting my head up to make this comfortable, I'm going to inhale and rotate my left arm to the sky and over to the left, lowering my head down into a reclined twist here. And then I'll come back and we'll do this a few times. So movements like this, they're really slow and meant to draw your awareness to how you're feeling in your body. Kind of like somatic movement. It's sensory awareness training. All right, so let's do that maybe one more time with the breath. And then hold it to the left. You could even look over your left shoulder. You could prop anything. We have all of our props handy. Prop anything as needed. But take this reclined twist. And breathe. And notice how you're feeling. Good. Take one more breath. And then bring your gaze back to center if you looked toward the left. Roll your legs back up towards the sky. Reorient yourself back on your mat if you kind of trailed off a bit. And then extend your legs. And notice the points of your body that touch the earth now. Is there any difference? All right. And now let's take a supine side stretch. So walk your legs to the left as far over as they're able to go. Arms could extend, be in cactus or to the side, and take your side stretch. Again, if it's easier to hook the right ankle, the heel over the left, that might enable the twist or the stretch a little better. Breathe into the right side body. Notice the feeling of that psoas muscle on this right side. Noticing the difference from left to right. Is one side tighter than the other? And it's really important to assess when we're concerned about or trying to work on our posture, to assess the objects that you interact with in your life. So your bed, is it firm or is it really cushy? Your pillow, do you like to sleep on lots of pillows, which might lift your head, you know, a little bit more than it's serving for your upper back and your neck? Your chairs that you sit in, do they have a long seat which keeps your torso or your back away from the back for support and causes you to round? The activities that you do, you know, the doings, whether it's sports, the repetitive movement, you know, looking down at your computer screen, maybe you can have the screen more at eye level, you know, those kinds of things. It's important to assess. So take one more breath and then come back to neutral. Bend your knees, plant your feet, and do another little windshield wipe, preparing for the rotation to the left. Good. Now this next time that your legs go to the left, roll your whole body over to the left. Inhale, lift that right arm to the sky and up and over to the right. and back again. A few times like that. Flowing with your breath and opening to the side. And then the next time that you rotate, stay there. Make any adjustments. Propping under the legs or the arms. Maybe look over the right side. And breathe here. Take one more breath. And then you can bring your neck to neutral. Keep your upper body where it is. Bring the legs back up to the sky in a constructive rest. Make any adjustments. So last thing, we'll do a supine cat-cow. And we'll add a little back bend. So we'll add a bridging. So ground the feet, arms by your sides. And then for starters, let's really exaggerate the tailbone down towards the earth. So you're getting this anterior or forward tilt to the pelvis. So you've got a nice back bend here. And then on your exhale, we'll tilt the tailbone up towards the sky, get that posterior tilt to the pelvis, the low back presses into the earth, our feet ground, and we start to lift our hips and our arms, and we rise all the way up into a bridge pose. And then exhale and slowly roll it down, one vertebra at a time. Upper back, mid back, low back's pressing. You've still got that posterior tilt, and then we'll lower the arms as we bring that pelvis tilting forward anteriorly, okay? And just continue like that. So we're just doing this bridge pose even a little bit more exaggerated, rolling down the spine one vertebra at a time, warming up the spine. Good. Nice. So just take about one more. And exhale and roll down, and then come to a neutral place. Pause for a moment. And then in your own time, you can roll to your left side and then transition to a dog pose. To your downward facing dog or puppy pose if downward dog doesn't feel comfortable for you today. So, and then add some movement. This is your first dog pose, so maybe you want to pedal your feet, swaying the hips from side to side. Again, grounding the hands, head between your arms, lifting your hips to the sky. And then pause here for a breath or two. And then let's look up toward our hands and walk our feet toward our hands. Good. Into our standing forward folds. Take a breath or two here. And then rise up halfway into a half lift. Exhale and fold. Bend your knees until your belly's on your thighs. Use your strong legs to rise you up. Arms out to the sides, overhead, hands to prayer, and prayer to our heart. All right. So I don't know if you're near a wall. If you could, we're going to do just a posture check before we move on. And this is something that you can explore on your own, but I just wanted to kind of point it out. So, I always say this in our practice to stack our bony structures. So the skull or, over your shoulders, your rib cage over your hips over your knees over your ankles. And, just again, sometimes because of the things I just talked about earlier, whether it's our furniture, our bed, our activities, or just generally, all of those would contribute to the bad postural habits. We get out of alignment. So, stand against the wall. The heels are not against the wall. They're maybe about a foot apart. Make sure, maybe start with your hips against the wall. And then see if you can get the back of your skull, your back body, and your hips against the wall. And just notice that. That is probably your optimal posture. And maybe you're having to self-correct if you have an overly exaggerated lordotic curve, that forward tilt of the pelvis. Maybe you need to, especially if you've got the tight hamstrings, the tight psoas hip flexors, and then weak abdominal muscles. All right. Maybe you've got this a little bit more of a upper kyphotic curve from rolling the shoulders forward. So just notice that. See if you can find your optimal posture. And we're going to take that into our practice today. All right. So kind of did it on our backs, but now I just wanted to show you against the wall. Okay, so let's come to the top of our mats, and you could have your blocks handy, the blocks and the strap handy. We won't use them initially. But the plan today is to warm us up through a sun salutation and then use some of our block and our strap for feedback as we do another, the second rounds of sun salutation. So starting at the top of the mat. Your feet are hips distance apart. Let's keep them apart today. If you tend to have your feet to touch, keep them apart so that you're like on your feet, your ankles are right underneath your knees and your hips. And then feel I'm going to call it four corners of your feet today. So the inside edges, the outside edges, the forward and back. In fact, let's create a little feedback there. So try to press your outer thighs away. You can even put your hands there to kind of press your outer thighs, your outer calves, your pinky toe sides of your feet out. And then press the inner thighs, the inner calves, the big toe mounds in. So feel what that engagement feels like there. And then draw your heels, your calves, your hamstrings back. Feel what that feels like. And then feel the fronts of your feet, the front of your shins, your knees, your quads going forward. So feel that you had this engagement of these different quadrants of our legs. See if you can kind of keep some awareness to that. And then draw the tailbone down, tone your belly, shoulders up, back, and down. And lift your chest without letting the rib cage pop out. So maybe draw the rib cage down. But this is what we're trying to get, this lift from the chest. Chins parallel without the chin jutting up. Okay. Now let's take a big inhale, arms out to the sides, up to the sky. Let the shoulders move down the back. Maybe even getting more length, more lift in the chest without the lower ribs popping out. And then exhale, hands to the side, swan dive, or through prayer, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, go back into your fold, and then step the left leg back. Bend the right knee. Get a sense that you're drawing your legs together, forward to back, side to side. Good. Take another breath or two here, lengthening from crown of head to heel. And then we're going to take a plank pose. So you can take a knee down plank or a full plank, up to you. Maybe we'll all do the knee down for the first one. And then the right leg comes back. Pause here, engaging the core, lengthening through crown of head. Good. And then, set your elbows up so that you can bend the elbows back and slowly lower down. Maybe even pausing for a moment here when your elbows are in line with your rib cage to engage the belly a little bit more. Then lower all the way down onto your belly. Uncurl your toes. Lengthen each leg, plant the tops of your feet to the earth. Plant your hand, peel your heart open, little cobra. And exhale and lower down. Let's do this a couple of times with breath. Inhale, peeling up, looping the shoulders down the back, lifting your chest. Keep your head in line with your spine so that your spine is moving at a nice natural curve, just like we talked about last week in the back bend. And then exhale, lower down. Let's press up through hands and knees, back into our dog pose. Now this time, try not to bring any movement to your dog pose. Plant your hands, press your hips to the sky so your head's between your arms. Now with your feet hips distance apart, get a sense that you're trying to draw your thighs away. So you're feeling the outer thighs, calves, outer feet activate. Now bring your awareness to your inner thighs and feel the inner thighs, the calves, activate. Press your heels back. The calves, feel the hamstrings, activate. And then activate the front of your shins, your quads. Draw your knees in toward your knees. Take one more breath. Look up to your hands. Walk your feet forward into your standing forward fold. Rise up halfway. Exhale and fold. Bend your knees until your belly's on your thighs. Lift your chest, arms out to the sides. Rise all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let's do that on the other side. So inhale, arms out to the sides, up to the sky. Lift the chest without the lower ribs lifting up. Exhale, hinge from your hips, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, rising up halfway. Use your blocks if you need to. Exhale, lower down. Step your right foot back. Bend the left knee. Scissor your legs together in those 4 directions. Lengthen from crown of head to heel. Good. And then maybe this time we can go back into a full plank, but if you still do need down plank, that's fine too. Pause there for a moment or two. Activating your legs, extending through your heels, engaging core. Slowly lower down by bending your elbows back, going forward with your chest. Maybe hover when your chest is in line with your rib cage. Lower all the way down. Good, nice. Uncurl the toes, plant the feet. Maybe lengthen each leg. Plant your hands. Lift your chest. Loop the shoulders down the back. Maybe lift a little higher this time. And exhale, lower down. So just breathe here, lifting your heart, looping the shoulders down the back. Exhale, lower down. One more time. Inhale, peeling up. Exhale, lowering down. Now let's press up through hands and knees. Go into another downward facing dog with leg activation. See if you can become aware of those 4 points, pressing the legs out, drawing the inner thighs in, pressing the legs back, and as well as bringing them forward. Feel that there's more happening here in the legs than maybe we often realize. Maybe in our dog pose, we dump all of our weight into our arms. Take one more breath. Look up towards your hands. Walk, step, or hop your feet towards your hands. Forward fold. Rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, belly on your thighs. Arms out like a T. Rise all the way up to standing, hands to prayer. Prayer to your heart. Arms by your sides. All right. So now we're going to do that with some feedback, and we're going to use a block. So take your block and bring it between your inner thighs. So this is going to change the position of your feet. Like for me, it feels that my feet are a little wider apart than normal. So, but we're having to squeeze this block. And you can adjust it. Actually, I'm going to move it so that most of the block is sticking out the back, not so much the front. And you'll see why in a minute. So let's come back to the top edge of our mat, squeezing the block, and see if we can pay attention to the feet. You know, that you're grounding through the four corners of your feet. You've got that neutral pelvis. You're drawing your tailbone down, lifting the front of the pelvis. Lower ribs are not popping out. They're just kind of drawing in, belly's engaged, shoulders are up, back, and down. Good. And now to go into this round of Surya Namaskar, we'll do B. So we'll do our Utkatasana. So squat down here, squat down, reach your fingers down towards the earth. So you're shifting your weight back towards your heels, drawing your hips back, let's say that. Lift your chest, bring your arms forward, draw the arms into the shoulder sockets, and then lift the arms. Now keep squeezing that block. Now maybe notice how that changes, right? Your feet are grounding. And let's shift our weight a little bit. So put the weight into the left leg. Can you pick up the right foot just like a tad? And then lower that foot. And can you pick up the left leg? Just switch your weight just a tad. And then lower the foot. Good. Take one more breath, sinking a little deeper and taking care to draw the tailbone down again. So we're not getting an overly exaggerated lordata curve here. Grounding, lifting. Exhale, hands through prayer, forward fold. Inhale, rising up halfway. Exhale, fold again. Step, walk. It's baby steps, right? Or hop your feet back into your plank pose. Oops, so you can take baby steps back, 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 back. Lower your hips. Now we're in plank. Now keep squeezing the block. Notice how this feels in the low back, in the sacral region. Notice that, now you have to engage the legs. Maybe even lift your right leg just a tiny touch off the earth here. And lower it down. And maybe lift the left leg. And lower it down. Okay, now we're going to come down onto our bellies. So elbows, lower back, go back, chest goes forward. Hover when your rib cage is in line with your elbows. Lower all the way down. Good job. So now here's where you might have to adjust your block a little. I'm just pushing it up so that the bulk of the block is coming behind my legs. Okay, now we'll do our Shalabhasana this time. So bring your arms by your sides, palms down. Good. So strengthening the back body is really important for our posture too, especially if it becomes strained from rounding, right? So we want to strengthen and even shorten the muscles of the back body to lift the upper body up, loop the shoulders down the back, keep the shoulder blades moving down the back. So let's do that. So ground your hands. Squeeze your block. Don't forget about that block is still there. Lift your chest. Lift the legs. It doesn't matter how high we go up. And then lower your upper body and lower body. Let's do that again. Lifting the chest, lifting the legs. Now you can keep your hands down or you can even lift them and let them hover. Good. And lower down. Everything can come down. Now, one more time. Keep squeezing that block. Lift your chest. Lift your arms, Lift your legs. And then point your toes. And then slowly bend your knees and curl your feet back, kind of like we did Dhanurasana last week. Good. Now, this is really good to strengthen our hamstrings. Do you feel the hamstrings? Good. But we're also stretching our quads. Really important too. Take one more breath. And then slowly squeezing the block with control. Lower your legs, lower your feet. Bend your elbows. Press up through hands and knees. Curl your toes under. Downward facing dog with our block. And how does that feel? Does it give you, again, some feedback to engage the legs? Plant your hands and your hips to the sky, head between your arms. Inhale and exhale. One more breath. Inhale and exhale. Look up to your hands. Walk, step, or hop your feet toward your hands. Rise up halfway Exhale, fold, bend your knees, Utkatasana. So lift your chest, lift your arms to shoulder height, then maybe bring them up that 45-degree angle. Draw your hips back, draw your tailbone down, lower ribs in, relax the shoulders down the back, even spin your pinkies toward each other. Squeeze the block, maybe lift the right foot. Lower that foot, lift the left foot. Lower that foot, and then squeeze your block as you straighten your legs, lower your arms, and move the block out of the way for a moment here in your Tadasana. Noticing your posture now. Noticing that foundation that you have to the earth. Maybe a little more leg or core engagement. Notice. Okay. So let's do that one more time. This time we're going to put a strap around our legs so that we're going to have feedback for the outer legs. Okay, so take a strap and you're going to need to make a loop. All right, and then you'll put that loop around your legs so that it's just above your knees. Give everybody a chance to get there. Good. And then if this tail is a little, in the way, you can wrap it around, maybe even loop it in or something somehow so that it's not in the way. So it's not in the way. Okay, good. All right. So you got your strap. And then let's meet in Tadasana. Okay. Our feet are hips distance apart again. Now we're pressing our thighs out. Notice the outer edges, the outer legs, the outer feet. Still keep the belly toned. Tailbone drawing down. Inhale, arms out to the sides, up to the sky. Lift the chest, but draw the lower ribs in. Relax the shoulders down the back. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, fold again. Step, walk, or jump your feet back into your plank pose. Okay, now press the legs apart. Maybe lift the right leg here. Lower the foot. Lift the left leg here. Lower that foot down. Pause with knees down or just full plank. So modified or full plank. Hover when your rib cage is in line with your elbows. And then lower all the way down onto your belly. Arms by your sides, palms down. You can even lower your chin and your lips onto the earth. Once again, let's peel the chest up, the legs up, maybe reach the arms back. So full Shalabhasana now. Noticing the difference. And then lower down. Good. We'll do that again. Lifting up, breathing around the heart. Good. And then lower down. One more time. This time, maybe you want to bring your hands into Yoga Mudra. So lift the chest, lift the legs, lift the arms, keep them here in airplane, or bring your hands behind the back into Yoga Mudra. Lifting your chest, your sternum, looping the shoulders down the back, pointing through the toes, pressing the legs apart. And then lower down, release your hands, bring your hands under your shoulders, press up through hands and knees, dog pose. Inhale and exhale here. Noticing the difference of the outer thigh, inner thigh squeeze. Is there a difference for you? Is one harder than the other? Take one more breath. And then look up towards your hands. Step, walk, or hop your feet towards your hands. Good. Into your forward fold. Rise up halfway. Exhale, fold again. And then bend your knees here. Shift your weight back towards your heels. So your hips are going back. Lift your chest, lift your arms. Good. Into your Utkatasana. Tailbone draws down, belly engages. Arms lift up at a 45-degree angle. Here we are in our chair pose. Maybe shift the weight to the left foot again. And lower that foot down. Maybe shift the weight to the left foot, right foot, lifting the left, just a little bit off the earth. Lower that foot down. Send the hips a little bit more back, tailbone down, grounding through lower body as you reach up through upper body. One more breath, and then press the earth away with your strong legs, lower your arms. And you can release your strap and notice how that felt. Actually, let's come to the front of our mat and notice how that feels. Okay, so now we're going to do our sun salutation with a little bit of, we're going to get a quad stretch, and we will not use any, any props for feedback, and we'll see if we can feel that the effects of the engagement, the extra engagement that the props, inspired. So with our feet grounded, legs activated from all four corners, tailbone drawing down, belly engaged, shoulders up, down the back. Inhale, arms out to the sides, up to the sky. Lift your sternum. Get long, but keep the lower ribs drawing in. Exhale, hinge from your hips, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale and fold again. This time send the left leg back. Low lunge. Pause for a moment, scissoring your legs forward to back, side to side. Lift the belly off the thigh. Good. Now let's reach our arms up to the sky. Let's take a warrior one posture here. Good. Now make sure you're drawing your tailbone down and lifting the ribs, even if you need to bend the back leg for this exercise. So we don't go into too deep of a lordotic curve. Relax the shoulders. So if you can, bring that leg towards straighter once you find that core engagement, the neutral pelvis. Good. And then let's lower our hands down to the earth, lower the back knee. Draw the knee in at first so that we're kind of at a 90-degree angle. Well, actually, you know what? Let's not. Let's draw that leg out for a moment. Let's just get a little more stretch in the front of the thigh. So let's keep that left leg going back. Bend the front knee. You might want to drop the hips forward. And then we'll rise up again. Knee down, warrior one. Keep the core engaged. Drawing your tailbone down. And see if you could even take a little bit of a back bend here. So that we're lifting our sternum, but we're also deepening the stretch in the left leg. Do you feel that in your left psoas? Take one more breath here, and then lower your arms. Maybe bring the back knee in a little bit so that it's more in that 90 degrees, so the knee is right underneath the hips. And then you can rise up. You can even use your hands on your thigh for support to rise up. Good. Now drawing the tailbone down, lifting the hips. Send your arms to the sky one more time. And then if it feels comfortable for you, you can, well, we're gonna, oh yeah. You might want to put a prop underneath the left knee because we're gonna take a quadricep stretch here. So, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. So you might want to find your prop. I'm going to reorient myself. Find the prop under that left knee, arms to sky. Good. And then reach the left hand back and see if you can grab the left foot. If you can't, that's okay, because we're going to hold it here isometrically anyway. But see if you can draw it in and get a nice quadricep stretch. And then square your torso back towards the front. And then release, keep your foot up there, release your arm for a moment. Draw that leg in. Feel the engagement of the front and back of the leg, especially the hamstring, right? The hamstring's working, the quad is stretching. Reach back, grab the foot again, bring it in a little bit more. Really heel towards the buttocks. Good. Keep it in if you can. And then release your clasp. Draw that leg in, keep it in, keep working the hamstring, and then slowly, 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 lower the foot, lower the hands to frame your foot. Fuller modified plank again. Up to you. Lift one leg, keep your belly toned. Lower the foot, lift the other leg. Lower that foot, bend your elbows, lower down. Good, I've still got my block, my prop here. Good. Press your hands into the earth, uncurl your toes. Take your cobra. Maybe you're going to develop this to an upward facing dog. And then press back, maybe rolling over your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale here. Good. Look up at your hands. Step, walk, or hop your feet towards your hands. Half lift. Exhale, fold. And then bend your knees until your belly's on your thighs. Rise all the way up to standing. Hands to prayer. Prayer to your heart. Let's do that one more time. So with core engaged, reach up, get long. Exhale, hinge from your hips and forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Send the right leg back. Bend the left knee over the ankle. Send your arms to the sky. Warrior one. Again, drawing tailbone down, lifting your hip points. Keeping the lower ribs drawn in, even if it means bending the back leg. Even keeping your hands on your thighs for support. But if you can, lift your arms without the rib cage lifting. Bring your back leg towards straighter. Go ahead, take one more breath. And then lower our hands down to the earth. Take that prop again, if it's still there. Lower the right knee down. You can send it back a little bit so that we can get a stretch in the front of the right thigh as we lift our arms to the sky. We're going to spill our pelvis a little bit forward here, but keep your core engaged. Maybe even you can isometrically draw the lower ribs and the belly in, lifting the hip points even as you come forward to deepen the stretch in the psoas. Maybe lift your sternum. Keep the belly really engaged here. Don't spill the energy out. So to support this back bend, we're using the complementary muscles. We're drawing in and up. And then lower your hands down. Bring the leg in so it's right underneath the hip. Good. And then rise up one more time. Knee down, warrior one. When you're ready, you can stay here or reach that right hand back as you draw the right leg in and take this quadricep stretch here. Now keep the leg in and release it. So your arm can still just be reaching back. Or maybe it comes up to the sky for a little extra challenge. And then reach your arm back, give that another squeeze, draw that leg in. See if you can get the heel closer towards your buttocks, whatever that is for you. Keep it there. Release the arm, wherever the arm is. And then super slow, lower your leg down, lower your arms down, place the weight into your left foot, pick up the right leg, and step the right leg to meet the left, back into our forward fold. Rise up halfway, exhale and fold, bend your knees until your belly's on your thighs, rise all the way up to standing, hands to prayer, and prayer to your heart. Okay, nice work. And then pause for a moment and notice how you're feeling now. Let's take one balanced posture before we go back to the floor. So shift the weight to the left leg, pick up the right leg into tree. Vrikshasana. So the right foot presses into left leg presses into right. Create that sense of feedback that we had before with the prop. Belly toned, hands at heart center. Smooth, easy breath, just like in the beginning. And then when you're ready, slowly lower that leg and we'll go to the other side. Pick up the left leg, heel to inner thigh, leg and foot press toward each other for balance, for core engagement. Toned belly, lifting the sternum towards the sky. Finding that optimal posture in this pose. Finding your Tadasana. That is our Tadasana after all. And then, when you're ready, we will release the posture, arms by our sides. Good job. All right, let's come onto our backs. So let's go back onto our backs. Actually, before we come down, we are running a little short on time because we started late today, but I would like to point out one thing. This is another little good test for your posture. So if it feels okay for you to be in Virasana, that's this thunderbolt pose. It's deep knee flexion. You could always sit on a block or a block between your legs. You could have a blanket between the hamstrings and the calves. And then, so find what might feel comfortable for you. Your legs are a little bit open so that you can draw your calves away and that you can maybe sit between your legs. Okay, so I might be up on a block or a rolled blanket. That's fine too. Whatever feels comfortable for you. So see what feels comfortable for you. And then notice, it's like the tailbone draws down to the earth. And then send your pelvis forward. Feel that. And then send your pelvis backward and feel that. And so really notice here, when my pelvis goes forward, I really do have this really arch of my back, right? That excessive lordotic curve. And then when my pelvis goes backward, I really have this kyphotic curve, a rounding of the chest, a closing of the heart, the lungs, all of that. Now find the neutral place where your tailbone's drawing down, your pelvis is neutral, it's neither tipped forward or back, your core is engaged, the sternum is lifting. So here's a good set point for you. Here's a good thing to do every day. And it's a nice gentle quadricep stretch, maybe. Might not work in the knees. You know what? You could do this in a chair, right? If you wanted to do this test, you can just do this in a chair. So take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, transition onto your back with knees bent on the earth. Okay, so you can just lift up, shift over. Here we are again. Oh, that feels good. Now you can even actually, before we go into this last thing, which is an abdominal exercise, we'll just do a short set. You could even extend your legs if that's of interest to you to check in. We'll do this again at the end, but you might want to do it now to feel all of the parts of the body that are connected to the earth. All right. So now let's plant our feet on the earth. So bend your knees, plant your feet. You're in your constructive rest. You can even draw your low back down. And so this is gonna focus a little bit on the upper body for a moment. And this will be to strengthen our transverse abdominals, the low abdominals, because this will be really important to help support our spine, and they can tend to become a little weak. So this will be important to strengthen them. So send your arms up to the sky and have your palms face each other. And so you're here with your arms extended upward, hands, elbows right over shoulders. And then draw the arms back so the shoulder blades come onto the earth. And then the heads of your arm bones are into the shoulder sockets, so you're nice and stable. Keep drawing the lower ribs down as you send your arms overhead in line with your ears. Good. And notice. Then you could even stay here and turn the backs of your hands on the earth. Okay, really reset, draw the lower ribs in if you took like an exaggerated curve. Yeah, good. So we want to keep our arms here. Did you notice that one arm may have came down to the earth sooner? And if you did, that's kind of a sign. That's probably your more flexible shoulder. So it's interesting to note. So keep lengthening through the side body. Okay, but don't let the ribs bow out. Draw them in. Keep them nice and stable. And then bring one knee in towards your chest and then the other knee in towards your chest. And then send the legs to the sky. Activate your legs, pressing through the balls of your feet. You can turn your palms toward each other so that we're really making like a seated or a Dandasana, Dandasana. That staff pose that we do seated. So we're doing this on our backs. Engage your belly. Engage your belly. And then lower your legs sort of like to like a 60-degree angle. And keep activating the legs, pressing through the balls of your feet as you also draw up from the pelvic floor through the belly. So to balance this posture of our legs going out at this angle, we're counterbalancing it by having this upward lifting from the belly. Okay, now lower your legs a little bit more without excessively arching. And then really keep drawing up on the belly. And then lift the legs back up to the starting position. So that's it. Let's do that a few more times. So, again, engage the core, lengthen through the side body. Activate your legs, lower them to 60 degrees. As you're reaching away with the legs, lift up through the pelvic floor, through the lower belly, through the side body. Lower your legs a little bit more, hover and breathe there. Lift your legs all the way up. Okay, one more time. So activate the legs, reach up, lifting up through the side body. Feel that lower belly. So we're massaging the inner organs even. Lower the legs to that in 60 degrees. Breathing. Lower your legs a little bit more. Hover there, keep lifting up through the low belly. And then lower your legs all the way down. Reach up through fingers, down through toes. Take a big stretch, stretch, stretch. And then you can bend your knees, sweep your arms by your sides, give your legs a squeeze if you like. Maybe even massage the back body. That's it. We have We've done it. Give massaging the legs, maybe, or the back body, giving circles to the legs. Breathing here. And pull both legs in, head to knees, knees to head. And then when you're ready, lower your head and shoulders, extend one leg and then the other, making sure you're comfortable on your mat. And notice now how you're feeling, the parts of your body that are making contact with the earth, how it feels now. I find that I'm engaging my belly a little bit more, so I am controlling the tilt of my pelvis. And breathe. So just notice what you feel. Take a big inhale here. And exhale it out with a sigh. Part your jaw. Maybe take a big inhale, yawn it out. One more breath, big inhale, and exhale, surrender. Surrender the weight of your body, any holding in your belly, any control of your breath. Just let it go here for these next few moments as we integrate our practice and absorb the Shanti, the peace of yoga. Get back in your body. Whenever you find yourself drifting away, losing touch with yourself, jumping from the present moment to some far off point in the future, get back in your body. Instinctively, when we become afraid or find ourselves in a painful situation, we may leave our bodies temporarily. We may shut down, move our consciousness out, abandon or ignore ourselves. Sometimes it's natural to go numb, to just go through the motions until things calm down. It's easier than feeling. But shutting down our bodies and emotions, disappearing as a way of life, won't get us where we're going, to the heart. Living with an open heart means we stay present for ourselves and feel as much as we can, as much as we need to. We feel the feelings that come our way. You are safe now. You know how to own your power. You know how to lovingly care for and nurture yourself. You know how to trust God and the universe to help you. You know you can trust yourself. You are safe now, safe enough to feel. Deliberately, consciously, get back into your body. Feel your feet, your head, your arms, your legs. Feel your heart. Listen to it beat. You're powerful now and powerfully connected to yourself. Get back in your body. Come back to life. So allow your breath to deepen. Gently rock your head from side to side. Bring movement to fingers and toes. Taking a big stretch. Exhale, sweep your arms by your sides, reaching up even more. And then release. Maybe giving your legs a squeeze before rolling over to the right side. And you can use your left hand to rise back up to a comfortable seat. Drawing tailbone down, lifting up. Draw your hands together at heart center, lifting your sternum. Now let's seal our practice by joining our voices in the sound of Om. Inhale. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.